Rain fell over Manhattan like the city itself was grieving. Lights blurred across wet streets, taxis rushed past. People hid beneath umbrellas, moving fast, chasing lives that never slowed down. But on the steps of St. Andrew's Cathedral, one woman stood completely still, Emily Carter. Her white wedding dress clung to her skin, soaked and heavy. Guests whispered behind her. The church doors were closed. The groom never came. At first she thought it was a mistake. Traffic. An accident. Something explainable. Then her phone vibrated. One message, one photo. Her fiancé, Daniel, kissing another woman. Time-stamped 30 minutes earlier. At a hotel across town. Her hands trembled. The world didn't shatter loudly. It collapsed quietly. Piece by piece. She laughed. Not because it was funny, because crying in front of hundreds of strangers felt worse. Emily removed her engagement ring slowly and placed it on the church steps. No dramatic speech. No screaming. Just silence. And then she walked away from the life she thought she understood. She didn't know yet that this betrayal was only the beginning. The billionaire who trusted no one. Across the city, inside a glass tower that pierced the clouds, Alexander Hayes watched New York from the top floor of Hayes Global. The media called him the youngest self-made billionaire in tech history. Cold, untouchable, ruthless. Employees feared him. Competitors avoided him. Investors worshipped him. But none of them knew the truth. Alexander Hayes trusted no one. Not after what happened 5 years ago. Not after the woman he loved sold company secrets to his biggest rival. The betrayal had nearly destroyed everything he built. Since then, emotions became liabilities. Relationships became transactions. Love became weakness. He preferred silence. Control. Distance. Until the night Emily Carter walked into his world. A chance encounter. 3 weeks after the wedding disaster, Emily worked the late shift at a quiet Manhattan bar. It wasn't where she imagined her life at 28. She once worked in corporate finance, had dreams, plans, but heartbreak rearranges priorities. Now she poured drinks and avoided conversations about the future. Near midnight, the door opened. The room shifted instantly. Alexander Hayes entered without announcement. No entourage, no noise, just presence. Power carried quietly. He sat alone, ordered whiskey. Neat. Emily noticed how tired he looked. Not physically, emotionally. Like someone who had stopped expecting happiness a long time ago. Their eyes met briefly. He looked away first. Hours passed. When Emily returned with another drink, she noticed papers scattered beside him, financial reports. Complex numbers, mistakes circled in red. Without thinking, she spoke. "You're analysing projections wrong." Alexander looked up slowly. Most people tried to impress him. No one corrected him. "Excuse me?" he said calmly. She hesitated, then pointed gently. "You're calculating market recovery using last quarter's volatility. That spike was artificial." Silence. He stared at her, then at the papers, then back at her. "Sit," he said. It wasn't a request. She almost refused. But something in his voice wasn't arrogance. It was curiosity. 10 minutes later, Emily had reworked the model on a napkin. Alexander leaned back, studying her like a puzzle. "What's your name?" "Emily." "Why are you working here?" She gave a small smile. Bad decisions. For the first time in months, Alexander almost smiled. The offer. 2 days later, Emily received an email. A job offer from Hayes Global. Senior financial analyst. Salary higher than anything she'd ever earned. She assumed it was a joke, until a car arrived outside her apartment. Inside waited Alexander Hayes himself. "I don't hire people," he said. "I invest in talent." She hesitated. "You barely know me," he replied quietly. "I know intelligence when I see it," Emily accepted. She didn't realize someone else had already been watching her. The secret mission. That same night, Emily met a man in a dark restaurant corner. Victor Lang, her former employer, the reason her career had collapsed, and the man who knew her secret. "You're inside Hayes Global now," he said smoothly. "I told you I'm done helping you." He slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents tied to her late father, financial fraud accusations that ruined his reputation years ago. Accusations Emily believed were false. Victor leaned closer. "Alexander Hayes destroyed your father's company during an acquisition." Her breath caught. "No. He buried the truth. Help me access Hayes Global's internal files, and I'll give you proof your father was framed." Emily's world tilted again. Revenge, justice, truth, she agreed. But only to uncover answers, not to hurt anyone. At least, that's what she told herself. Growing closer. Working beside Alexander changed everything she expected. He wasn't cruel, he was precise. Quiet, observant. He remembered small details, how she preferred coffee, how she avoided crowded meetings, how she stayed late even when unnecessary. Late nights turned into conversations. Short ones, careful ones. He never spoke about his past, but loneliness lingered around him like shadow. One evening, during a storm, the office lost power briefly. The city went dark. Emily laughed softly. "You ever stop working?" He looked out the window. "If I stop, I think too much." She understood that answer more than she wanted to admit. Days turned into weeks. Trust formed slowly, dangerously. She began forgetting why she came, until Victor called again. "Time to deliver," he said. Her stomach tightened, because now, betrayal had a face. And it wasn't a stranger anymore. The first crack. Emily accessed restricted files late one night. Her hands shook. Each click felt heavier. She searched for her father's company records and found something unexpected. Alexander hadn't destroyed the company. He had tried to save it. Emails showed negotiations, warnings, attempts to stop financial collapse caused by internal sabotage. Her father wasn't framed by Alexander. He had been betrayed by someone inside his own firm, someone connected to Victor Lang. Emily froze. She realized the truth. She wasn't spying for justice. She was being used. Footsteps echoed behind her. Alexander's voice came quietly, looking for something. Her heart nearly stopped. She turned slowly. For the first time, suspicion filled his eyes. Not anger, hurt. The worst kind. "I can explain," she whispered. He didn't raise his voice. That's what everyone says. Silence stretched between them. Trust, fragile and new, cracked instantly. The truth revealed. Emily told him everything. The wedding, her father, Victor's manipulation, the mission. She expected rage. Instead, Alexander looked tired. Deeply tired. "I knew someone would try this again," he said softly. "Then why hire me?" He met her eyes. "Because I trusted my instinct. That hurt more than shouting ever could." Security escorted her out that night. No dramatic goodbye, just distance. She was never supposed to fall in love with the man she was sent to destroy, but the night Emily Carter stepped into Alexander Hayes' world, she unknowingly signed a contract with fate itself. And fate never negotiates. New York City glittered beneath winter lights, beautiful and indifferent. Thousands of lives moved at once, deals being made, hearts being broken, dreams rising and collapsing between skyscrapers. High above it all stood Hayes Tower, a building of glass and steel, cold, perfect, untouchable, just like the man who owned it. Alexander Hayes didn't believe in coincidences. He believed in leverage, in power, in control. Because 5 years earlier, love had nearly ruined him. The woman he trusted most had walked out of his life, carrying secrets worth billions. By morning, his company stock collapsed, investors panicked, and headlines labeled him a fool who trusted the wrong person. He rebuilt everything. Stronger, sharper, colder. Since then, Alexander Hayes trusted numbers more than people. Numbers didn't lie. People always did. Across the city, Emily Carter stood in front of a mirror she barely recognized. The white wedding dress still hung in her closet, hidden behind coats, like a ghost she refused to face. 3 weeks ago, she had been a bride. Now she was a stranger inside her own life. Her fiancé hadn't just left her, he erased her future in a single moment. Friends stopped calling after the drama faded. Family avoided the topic. And Emily learned something painful about heartbreak. The world moves on faster than your pain does. Bills still arrived. Rent still needed paying. So she traded corporate offices for late-night shifts at a quiet Manhattan bar. It was temporary. At least that's what she told herself every night. The bar smelled of coffee and polished wood. Soft jazz played in the background. Most customers came to disappear, not socialize. That's why she liked it. No expectations. No questions until the door opened at exactly 11:42 p.m. Emily didn't know why she noticed the time. Maybe because the room changed instantly. Conversations lowered. Heads turned subtly. Not because he demanded attention, but because power has a presence you can feel before you understand it. Alexander Hayes walked in, wearing a dark coat, dusted with snow. No security, no assistant, just quiet confidence and exhaustion hidden behind controlled movements. He chose the corner seat, the one facing the entire room. A man used to watching everything. Emily approached with her usual professional smile. "What can I get you?" "Whiskey," he said. "Neat." His voice was calm, deep, distant, like someone speaking from behind invisible walls. She nodded and walked away, unaware that this simple interaction would rewrite both of their lives. Alexander didn't come to bars for company. He came for silence. The noise inside his mind had grown louder lately. Hostile takeover attempts, anonymous threats, competitors moving aggressively. Someone was targeting Hayes Global again. And he knew betrayal rarely came from enemies. It came from people allowed too close. Always, Emily returned with his drink. For a brief second, their eyes met. Something unfamiliar passed between them. Recognition without memory, like two strangers who somehow already understood loneliness in the same language. He looked away first. That surprised her. Most wealthy men held eye contact too long. Measured. Evaluated. Expected admiration. But Alexander Hayes seemed uninterested in being seen at all. Hours passed quietly. Near midnight, Emily noticed documents spread across his table. Financial projections filled with handwritten notes. Old habits stirred inside her. Numbers had once been her world.